back. It's your main man, Big I, the talk of the town, Mr. DETV. And back on the plaza, I have my man, Tyler. Berl, Tyler, what's happening, brother?
Ivan, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time.
Come on, how am I going to say no to you, man?
Hey, you know what? I've got to keep asking them. I got to keep coming back. I got to keep coming back.
Look, HIV, Executive Director of HIV Consortium, right? It's a lot happening. The day is, December 1st marks World AIDS Day, right?
World AIDS Day.
What does that mean?
So December 1st every year is a recognition of World AIDS Day. And it's an awareness event, but even more important than that, it's a day to mourn and honor all of those individuals who have died from HIV.
Right.
A lot of times those individuals are quietly lost, and we don't, we tend to not think about them. And we need to realize that these are people who live lives, and we need to honor and recognize them.
Oh, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. And you look at it like from where we first started with HIV and AIDS into where we are now. And let's talk about that. Like, sure. Where are we?
So this year, December 1st, 2023, World AIDS Day will mark the 35th time that we've held this event. It's a national, it's a global event, an awareness event. And in Delaware, HIV, it's kind of at a crossroads. It's kind of at a crossroads.
What do you mean?
So, there are roughly 4,000 people living with HIV here in Delaware. There's been roughly 6,500 people diagnosed since 1981 here in Delaware. And we're doing really good things. We have community-based organizations that are specialized in serving their individual populations.
Right.
We have antiretroviral, or we have pharmaceutical medicines that if you're living with HIV, can ensure that you live a life that's equal to that of those who are not living with HIV.
Right. Right.
We have really good prevention tools that you can choose to take what's the best modality for you, and we have community-based organizations who can provide those to you. So we have everything that we need to stop HIV here in Delaware in its tracks. But I say it's uncertain because we're fighting at crosswinds. We're dealing with an HIV apathy that people think that HIV is solved, and it's not.
That's the way it looks. You don't hear too much about it anymore. And COVID came, and it put it in the back burner, back of people's heads.
Exactly.
Minds.
And so what we're saying is that, for the 5 years leading up to COVID, we are dealing with less than 100 diagnoses of people living with HIV every year here in Delaware. And since COVID, we've never gotten back to those HIV testing numbers in the community. And that's key. It's testing in the community where people feel safe and feel strong and feel supported and trust the people who are doing them.
Right.
Doing your tests to keep it quiet and, to them. But what we're seeing is that we're not doing the testing in the community as much as we used to be. And because of that, we're having new people, a much greater rate of people diagnosed with HIV.
Right. So what do we need to do to get more testing out?
So it's interesting. So one thing is to make sure that there's events like World AIDS Day, that people are aware that we need to be tested, that just because you can treat HIV once you're diagnosed, you don't want to be diagnosed with HIV. You want to prevent it before it happens because HIV is expensive, and there's a stigma that we need to fight against all the time. So what we need to do is we need people aware that they should be regularly testing. And doing the things to protect their health. But at the same time, I also say that we're at a crossroads because we're finding out now that starting in 2024, the federal amount of money coming into Delaware to treat HIV prevention to provide HIV prevention services in the community is going to be reduced by $800,000.
Wow.
From where it was in 2023, starting in 2024. So every AIDS service organization who provides HIV prevention services in the community where it's trusted, it's going to be hit by this. That means staffing cuts. It's going to mean less services and populations who need real, true services in places that they trust aren't going to have the services available to them. Wow. And so I say that we're at a crossroads because, every dollar that comes out of the community, again, cut less money from the federal government, is a service that's not going to be provided in the areas that need it.
Wow.
And so there's things, there's things that we can do. Our community-based organizations who are providing these services are still trying to do everything that they can to stretch the dollars. Trying to do it.
Right.
We also know that we need to be pushing on the state to put out additional dollars. That is state funds, not federal funds, because Delaware's in the minority that they don't provide a direct amount of money for HIV prevention services themselves. So we need state funding as well. And then, we, again, need to do everything that we can as a community to continue to provide these services, because we don't want any new person diagnosed with HIV who didn't have to be. Because we are seeing cuts in funding.
Right. Wow. Okay. Now, let me ask you, for people to get testing, is that something that the HIV Consortium can help with?
Definitely. So one event that we're going to be at, in alignment with World AIDS Day, is the Man Up Better Health Fair.
Oh, you're there with those guys
that we just talked about.
Nice.
So we'll be there. But any day that you want to get an HIV test, you come into our office.
Okay.
We're at 100 West 10th Street in Wilmington. We also have an office in Milford. But you walk in, and we'll give you a test anytime. Any of our staff can do it. We also want to make sure that we're out in the community, and we're trying to figure out ways now that starting in 2024, how we still have staff to provide those services in the community, again, where people trust the services the most. We want to be where people are and are doing, what you would consider higher risk behaviors to become impacted or affected by HIV.
I love it. I like it. Yeah, it's again accessible for people.
Exactly.
Love it.
And we understand that the populations that are most impacted by this are people living in Wilmington, African American, Black communities, men who have sex with men, and injection drug communities, users. We want to make sure that any AIDS service organization are in those areas where those populations are residing. We want to be there.
Okay, so this Friday you're gonna be right there with Man Up.
We'll be offering testing out there.
Oh, that's awesome. So what do you think about that fair, that health fair?
I think this is our first time participating in it, but I do have to say, like Nora said, we need to make sure that as men, we're getting the health screens that we can to provide for our family, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that before I entered the HIV space, I was scared to get an HIV test. And the thing is, we need to make sure that we get over some of those stigmas, those scared. I didn't want to fail the test.
Right.
Like was being talked about. And so now understanding that HIV test isn't scary, that if you're HIV positive, we'll make sure you get linked to care. If you're HIV negative, also fantastic, and we'll get you linked to the service to make sure you stay HIV negative. There's courses of action out there for everybody, no matter what side of the test you come off.
Right, I got you.
We can't be scared of getting tested. That's the number one thing we need to do.
I hear you. AIDS World Day this Friday.
World AIDS Day.
AIDS Day.
The 35th anniversary of World AIDS Day. This year's theme, it's going to be, it's World AIDS Day 35, Remember and Commit. We need to make sure that, understanding that these funding is going to be cut, but we need to commit as an entire community to continue to try to do this work. We can stop this HIV epidemic. We just need to commit to it.
There we go. I love it. Tyler, thank you so much for stopping by.
I always appreciate the time.
I always do. Anytime for you, my man. Matter of fact, the time, you got 20 seconds on the community camera.
Sure.
Ready?
So, as we get through this World AIDS Day, the 35th on December 1st, I just want to draw back to the attention of what this day is here for. It's to mourn those who we lost and elevate those lives. Those are individuals who sometimes died lonely, but each of those individuals had worth, had power, and we need to speak about those. If you know somebody who's living with HIV, if you yourself have been impacted with, by HIV, I'd ask you to raise your hand, commit to doing the work to end this HIV epidemic. We can do it. We just need your help and your leadership.
I love it, Tyler. Thanks again, good brother.
Ivan,
appreciate
you so
you.
much.